Miller, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast.
I'm excited to be here.
Are you?
I am.
I hope so. Because, look, you've been playing Harmonix's new game, which is a studio we're fascinated by.
Yeah.
We had Alec Dragopoulos on the podcast a couple months ago to talk about the future of the overall studio.
Yeah.
And one of the things he was hinting towards, which wasn't announced yet at that time, was this game called DropMix.
Absolutely.
Would you call it a game?
I would, but not a video game.
Oh, go on. What is this?
I actually think it's more of a tabletop game slash a music toy. But it's really cool.
So it's an app, first of all.
It's a device that you buy.
Okay.
That's like a board that's got 5 card slots on it. It comes with some cards, and then you can also get separately. You can buy packs of cards.
Yeah.
Right? The cards lay out onto this little board into one of the 5 slots, and each of the cards that you play has a piece of a song. So it might be the drum track from one song. Or
famous
the
songs?
vocal track. Yeah, well, some of them are famous. Some of them are just good songs.
Like what? Can you give an example of a song someone would know?
Yeah, like, the pop song Call Me Maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Definitely.
I think it'd be pretty impossible to have avoided hearing that song at some point in the last 5 years, right?
True, yeah.
That's a like you could maybe have the vocal track of that song. Okay?
Yeah.
You lay it out, and Harmonix, let's just take a step back for a second and acknowledge that Harmonix is kind of amazing. They do stuff with music. Like, whether you like their games or not, you got to acknowledge that the things that they have done to make music more accessible to non-musicians over the years, it's just like is doing stuff that nobody else does.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, maybe you never even touched Fantasia, but that was like a remarkable experience of bringing the sensation of engaging with music through motion into just anybody's life.
Who the hell can make a Fantasia video game in the year 2014? It's just insane.
And it was what? And of course, it was part of Connect, which was, of course, a failed endeavor in most regards. And so very few people played it, but it was a really neat project. And you go back from there, and you had Rock Band, and you had Guitar Hero, and you had Amplitude, and
more importantly, Frequency. Yeah.
And this is in that grand tradition, but it's not a video game, right? You play it on the table. It's more of a classic card game, but with musical components, because you're laying out these cards, and each card that you lay out instantaneously remixes with the cards that are already there to create a sort of tapestry of sound, a remix on the fly.
So is it just freestyling? Just be creative and have some fun?
So there's 3 main ways that you would interact with it. One is just a total freestyle mode, where you just sit down and you put a card on the table, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool drum beat. I wonder what would happen if I put this guitar part on top of that drum beat. Oh, that's kind of cool. You know what it needs? It needs like a really cool, like, laid back vocal track. Let me look through my cards. Oh, I've got this one. I'm going to play that. And then you hear that, add it into the mix. And it's got somewhere in the vicinity of like a 64-bar loop of music for every one of these cards, but they all integrate with one another seamlessly. Any card with any other card.
That's amazing.
So how is this not like an elementary school band, like a cacophony simulator? How does that, like what does it...
The technology is completely beyond me. I mean, remix technology has been around for a long time. I mean, this is what DJs have been doing for decades now, where you take, one record, you mix it with another record, you match up the beats, you make it sound good together, and all of a sudden you have a new musical creation.
And this just sort of does that automatically.
It does it automatically, maybe not with the same level of artistry that you would have from a world-class DJ, but really well.
So Girl Talk is just going to use DropMix for the next album?
Maybe. And so you create this music on the fly, and that's the freestyle mode.
Yeah.
And then there's also some actual game modes that you play where the board is used in a very particular way, where everybody has a certain number of cards, and okay, on this turn I can play... I'm supposed to play this kind of card. There's a sort of cooperative party mode that's all about like the game is asking for a particular card, and one of you needs to play that card. There's also a clash mode where like 2 to 4 players are competing, like in teams, to play particular cards and push the opponent's cards off of the table.
What the hell? Hey, just to liven it up a little bit. Yeah. This sounds fascinating, but what if underneath it we piped in some of your hot remixes, Miller, as you're continuing to explain this game.
And you tell me when you want to change these out. But I've got a few of them pulled up here, and we've got to pipe through our. Oh, they're truly remarkable. Fantastic. These are going to go to #1 on the top 40 radio stations almost instantaneously, I think. So I hope everybody's ready.
All right, let us know when they're playing there. And Cody in the booth, you wanna pot that baby up?
So you can, when you get these mixes, when you finish one, you save it if you want to, and then you can send it along to somebody else. Anybody else who has the app, and by the way, the app works on iPhone, Android, whatever, right? Yeah. Anybody else who has the app can see your mix and download it and play it for themselves, which is super fun.
Yeah.
We were talking about Call Me Maybe, so here you go.
Turns out Miller mixed that into every one of his remixes.
I have it in all of my remixes.
It was one of only 4 cards I had.
And so this is, each one of these is a different piece of music, and you can actually pull up whether you're doing it on the fly or you're receiving, like I send you this mix. You could tap on it and see each of the pieces, right? So this, I've got a kind of guitar part here from Sam Hunt. I've got this artist Frida Turner, who's got the kind of beat in the background.
Okay.
We've got a Ricky Martin tune that's kind of like giving us a little bit of that like Latin flavor thing going on.
Absolutely, you can really taste it.
And so each of these has their own piece that they're contributing.
Yeah.
So let's hear it. We'll pop out to another one.
Now, are there ever multiple pieces from the same song? Let's say you have a song and you want a different piece of it.
Yep. So you can get you might have like the guitar part and the vocal part for one song. It's I've yet to come across a full set of like all 5 being from the same song, but this probably
play the song. What a hot remix.
That's what made me laugh about it before, is the idea of like you have this tool that does all of this musical stuff, and you're just like, okay, finally, Call Me Maybe.
Instead of just paying 99 cents on iTunes, you're buying all these loot boxes of cards.
So anyway, I mean, I think that there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the game. I've played it with like my nephews and nieces between the ages of like 5 and 16.
Yeah.
And they had a blast just playing with the freestyle stuff, where literally it's just like, here's some cards, put them on the table. Can you hear what changes? And the little kids were going crazy. And a little later, the teenagers, like once I left the room, were just going crazy, actually making mixes.
They went mad.
And it was really fun for them, right? But I think it's also a tool that you can play with at home by yourself when you're just kind of just want to make these interesting remixes and kind of listen to what they do.
Yeah.
But you then have this game mode that you can play with other people, which turns it into this kind of like party game experience.
Quick question: 64 bar loop roughly. What's the time?
I think that's
on
about what it
like
is. I haven't counted it out.
Are we talking like a minute or longer, or?
Yeah, I think a couple minutes, maybe.
Couple minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you. I never timed it out, but I mean, it's not like a short thing, right? Like we're hearing the whole, like sort of vocal track through like verse and chorus here for the Sia song, right?
Yeah.
And you'll hear it here in what looks like about 8 bars. It's gonna like.
It doesn't feel like a short gimmicky loop.
No. The tech again is totally beyond me. I'm presuming it's something to do with there must be like a microchip in the cards that it's reading, much like a Toys to Life kind of a thing.
Yeah. So the cynic in me, which is only a small fraction of my soul, but the cynic in me says, well, Hasbro, who worked with Harmonix on this, right?
Yes, it's a Hasbro Harmonix combined
collaboration.
Effort.
They just wanted to get on that CCG angle of buying random card packs to try and get the mixes you want. Like, is that how this thing is doled out? Is it going to be sold in stores?
Yeah, I think it's sold in stores. I think it's out now. Was supposed to be out now. I haven't gone to a store to check, but supposedly it was out this week. And they you do have that random card aspect thing. So whether you like that or not, that is what it is. You get some cards that come with the game. But
I feel like if a company like Hasbro really wanted to get in on the CCG scene, they would maybe find a property more lucrative than Harmonix and like
the bass beat from a Ricky Martin song.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that Hasbro is investing big in this. I mean, I think that
That's awesome.
They want it to be a success, and
I'm not saying they did. I guess I just mean is like to Hanson's point, if they were really looking for a big piece of the pie, they would do something else. This seems seems like a clever sort of think takey music toy.
Yeah.
Well, kind of on the and Hanson, you brought this up. I didn't bring this up. The cynicism thing. So I'm just going on your vibe.
Right. I'm feeling the cynicism within you. Yeah. I understand.
So the meta is the meta for this that modern music is interchangeable and it all sounds the same.
I think it probably isn't a dramatically different message from what you've heard from the dance and electronica scene for the last 20 years, which is them saying that music has a way of kind of like being able to be combined and changed in new ways. That's maybe the other way to interpret that. I think that there's a lot of great artists out there who are primarily remix artists who have created some music that is unforgettable. And they're using samples and they're using remixes of existing tracks and make some great music out of it. This is that same principle, but brought to a very accessible, quick play experience. Right? You don't have to learn how to like match up beats on a record, or even more recently how to do that on a laptop. You're doing it with just putting a card on a table and hearing it. And to be fair, in this experience, the music can be almost an ancillary thing, right? While Hanson could sit at home and just like make remixes for himself that he saves and he sends to his buddies or whatever, it's also the idea that like the card game is a pretty fun game, right? You have a little hand of cards and you're like, okay, I need to play this card and I need to try to kick your card off. And you have the bonus as you're playing this fun little card game that every card that's played out on the board and every card that comes off changes the music that you're hearing, which is, I don't know, just kind of neat.
Cool. Miller, should I buy this?
I don't know. I think
if you wanted to buy it, how much does it cost?
I think it's $100 for the like actual like board.
I felt that cynicism spike.
Oh my lord! I thought it would be like a $15 little thingy.
No,
okay,
no.
$100.
I think so. I don't know that for sure. We can look it up quick. Yeah, it's $100.
Miller, yeah, you're right. We looked it up. $100. So
Pure surprise once again.
Good God! So it's like a little platform that you put a beat down on. It's $100.
It is, and you're paying more money for the cards.
What the f***? What? That deflates all enthusiasm I had for this thing.
I'm sorry. I think, as I said, I think that the experience is a novel one. But if it's not worth that amount of money for you, then that's going to be their challenge, right?
You could get like a used turntable and a stack of records for that. Two turntables and then you could scratch.
And a microphone.
A microphone, and you could buy harmonics.
I think you got to remember how much, like a big like music toy peripheral thing, when you were getting Guitar Hero or Rock Band was somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah.
But those took up your whole living room, as everyone knows.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of how much you enjoy the experience and how much you want to have that sensation of sort of creating music on the fly.
But you're really charmed by it.
I was charmed by it, yeah. I thought it was neat. I am always a little bit suspicious of blind card kinds of experiences, as I am here. But all the card packs that I've seen come with like interesting new cards, new little pieces of songs that expand the experiences in fun ways. So, I think, again, it's going to depend on how much you want that.
Naturally. Now, the crucial question, are there freeze pop cards?
I haven't seen any freeze pop songs yet.
Am I gonna have to?
Which seems like a big mistake.
Yeah, and if it's just floating somewhere out there, but it's like the rare legendary card,
it just needs to be like an expansion.
There are
the Super Sprode expansion.
There are weird ones that are like surprise cards that I'm like, whoa, why is this in here? Like one of the ones in there I saw was the Doctor Who theme.
That's
just like the weird synth one.
Oh my god!
So you just like lay it out, and all of a sudden it's like woo. And and it's getting mixed in with like Skrillex beat in the background.
I'm pulling out $100 bill from my wallet.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can't tell anybody whether it's like worth the money or not for you, because everybody's got a different value scale on that. I can tell you that it's really fun. Awesome. The game is fun. And again, by the way, just as another point of comparison, a good board game these days does cost between $50 and $120.
Okay.
And this is positioned to be a thing that you would break out on a board game night and play with your friends.
Yeah.
But with the bonus of like, I can also break it out by myself and like do some fun like freestyle mixes.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fascinating project.
It's
glad
weird
that it made it through the pipeline.
Harmonix is like is fascinating to me, not just because of their ability to do all this stuff, but they do stuff that is so consistently weird. I always worry about them a little bit, right? Like like the Fantasia thing, right? Like what a great game, and yet it was in this weird fringe place.
Yeah,
that
Rhythm, City Never Sleeps. Like they have so many small projects. Beatniks, things that people maybe even forget about.
I feel like Harmonix needs just like a ridiculously wealthy benefactor that can just fund their, because like what they do is really artistic and like interesting in studying the way that like people interact with music and entertainment at the same time. But like because it is kind of experimental, like they're not guaranteed any kind of commercial success for the stuff that they put out there. But I'm so glad it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.